Another week is gone, which is cool. It's me, Jim Amadeus. We're here to help you get through the weekend. And Amadeus, how was your evening last night? Had a good night?
Yeah, it was pretty decent. We cashed my AL Central game of the month with the Guardians, so
Mhm.
that was pretty good. It was went 1-0 in the Leagues Cup, had the over in the Minnesota United match. I'm still waiting on one match that's about to continue right now though. So the Cincinnati one got rained out midway through. So we'll see. There's still 30 minutes left to go in that match with Guadalajara. They're about to pick that one up right now, the last 30 minutes. So we'll see how that one turns out.
Is there a score at this point?
Yeah, it's 2-0 Cincinnati, and Guadalajara has a red card.
Oh, okay. They're in trouble. All right. So stranger things have happened, though, so you have to be careful on that.
Yeah. There was definitely some interesting scores last night. I kind of liked Toluca against Nashville, but I stayed off of it, and that was a high scoring one. I think it
Yeah.
ended. What was it, 4-3 Toluca or something like that?
Yeah, it was. I actually watched that for about 45 minutes, fell asleep, and then when I when I finished, when I woke up, I had to check my phone to see who won the game. It was they were long gone by the time I ended up. But it was very entertaining. I mean, nobody played defense, but it was very entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. It was a wild one for sure.
Yeah, and so there's some good stuff going on. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give some scores here for a second, or not some scores. I'm gonna tell people what's going on for tomorrow. If you can, take a quick scan for your Google machine so that we can show people or talk to people about what the groupings are and how they're going in the league um, in the League Cup, if you don't mind. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Cruz Azul, who you will recall had the first meeting with Miami last week, and that's where our buddy got his big score. Lionel Messi got the free kick that propelled Miami by them. So that game is at 7 p.m. on the MLS Pass on Apple TV. Followed also at 7:30 by Santos Luga, and they're playing Orlando SC. That's a big game for Orlando. Um, and that again is on all of these are on MLS Pass on Apple TV. Next guy at Charlotte. That game is at 7:30, 8:30. It's Pumas against DC United, and the evening closes out with Austin at Juarez. So those are the games tomorrow in the League Cup, Women's World Cup tomorrow. Sweden, Italy, that ought to be a good one. France, Brazil, and Panama versus Jamaica. Those are the three games tomorrow for the Women's World Cup. Those you can find on Fox Sports. So again, Sweden, Italy, that's at 3:30 a.m. 6 a.m. is going to be France and Brazil, and at 8:30 a.m. it's Panama and Jamaica. All of those games again on Fox Sports. The first game, the 3:30 game between Sweden and Italy, is Fox Sports 1. Then the Fox network takes over at 6 o'clock a.m. for France and Brazil, and they also are going to be carrying the 8:30 game, which is Panama and Jamaica. So Fox Sports 1 for the first game at 3:30, and then Big Fox, has got 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. On a Saturday morning. And as we already said, the games for tomorrow night are all on the MLS Pass on Apple TV. So you can catch. And by the way, they're also on Fubo TV. So for those of you who have Fubo TV in Canada, you can watch it as well. So that's where we are, and so the groups are starting to formulate who's getting where and going where for the leagues, the League Cup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got some interesting groups. So right now in Group A, we have the Tigres from Mexico tied
Mhm.
with Portland for the lead of the group right now, and San Jose is sitting at the bottom of that one. So
The Shark Tank. Yeah.
yeah, the good old Shark Tank. My Sharks. I'm actually wearing the Sharks hat right now. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so the Earthquakes will have they'll have some work to do in that final match against Tigres. So it's gonna be tough, that's for sure. But their only saving grace is Portland's already played 2 of their matches, so they still have the chance to tie it up 3-3-3. That would be interesting if all finished with the 3 points.
And then they go to goal differential, right?
Yeah, they would have to go to goal differential, and then I believe it's goals scored and then head to head.
Right. And then if that all goes down, then they have to go to a coin flip or something.
Yeah, then we start splitting hairs like yellow cards and
Right.
toes and things like that. Like then it just starts getting ridiculous after that. But,
It's one step short of crazy town. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so that's Group A, and Group B here we got Monterey leading the way after that win against Salt Lake. They got 3 points now. They're tied with Salt Lake, who also has 3 points. But Salt Lake has played 2 matches. Monterey has only played the 1, and then good old Seattle down with 0 points at the bottom of the group. So Monterey and Seattle are gonna battle it out there. That's another one that if Monterey wins, obviously they're through with a win and a draw. Seattle's out with anything less than a win, and if Seattle does win that one, that's another group that could finish 3-3-3.
It's kind of funny. You would think Seattle. Seattle's had a pretty decent teams. I'm a little surprised that they're not doing better in the Cup.
Yeah, they're having a rough year. They're not bad this year. They're still probably going to be a playoff team, but yeah, they're kind of more. They're going through a rough stretch right now. They were going through a rough stretch because they had some players playing in the Gold Cup, so they had to sacrifice some matches where they weren't playing well, and then so that form has kind of carried over now into the first match of this tournament. So we'll see if they can bounce back. But Monterey is very good. Mexican side, like we're talking about this was CONCACAF Champions League champions just a few years ago. They were in the Club World Cup, so very very, very good Mexican team there.
Not shabby by any stretch of the imagination. And
yeah,
it's now Inter Miami went through, right? They're good.
Yeah, they're through. They're through with their group, so they're in. Let's see. Let's just find them here. There's a lot of groups here. They're in Group J. So Inter Miami is already through. They got 6 points. They've won the group. Now it's just Cruz Azul and Atlanta, who both have 0 points. So that match tomorrow is basically going to decide who goes through. And as we know, even if it draws, it goes to penalties. So basically, the winner of tomorrow's match is going through.
Oh, there you go.
Someone's got to win that one, whether it's in the 90 minutes or the penalties. So yeah, that's going to be very important match. There's a lot of interesting groups here.
Mm-hmm. And from the standpoint of wagering, is there one or the other group that's really difficult to put a pin in because either they're all just of equal abilities, or one you expect one to just blow everybody else out of the water in those groups?
Well, it all depends, right?
Sure.
Like I'm looking at this one group. Like León has absolutely blown the 2 MLS teams out of the water. They have 5 points. They're sitting at the top, and then Vancouver and the LA Galaxy are the bottom 2 teams. They're going to have to play it out in this last match to see who goes through. And that's actually one where Vancouver has 1 point, the Galaxy has 0. So if the Galaxy were to win that in the penalty kicks, they would both be tied with 2 points. And I assume the match is going to be in LA, but it'll be interesting because they'll have to go down to goal differential for that. But that's one that I would think Vancouver should win. But Vancouver is a much better home team than they are on the road, so it's going to be interesting. The Galaxy obviously are very good at home, despite how bad they've been this season. They do play better there, so that's one where it's going to be tough to see which of those two teams are going to come out of that group. Just because if Vancouver was the home team, I would say for sure they would destroy the Galaxy. But the Galaxy being at home brings an interesting aspect to that group.
Yeah, I mean, the Galaxy, one of those teams where you feel like they're going to play well, but they always disappoint you.
And then when you expect them to play poorly, then they surprise you.
And they can win. So you're like,
it's like, oh, where'd that come from?
I don't ever want to see that team again. At the end of the day, it's really going to be interesting to see where they go with that from that standpoint. And let's talk real quick about tomorrow's women's.
Before we do that, Jim, I just want to give a score update. The Cincinnati match has resumed, and Guadalajara has scored right away to make it 2-1. Wow. Still down a man, but now it's very interesting, and that cashes my over from yesterday. So very, very happy about that. But I was actually kind of expecting that because, when you stop a game at the 60th minute like that, right, you go home, you sleep, and then you got to come back. They don't have the same focus and intensity of defending their 2-0 lead as they were in the mindset yesterday. So it's not shocking that Guadalajara came out and poached a goal right away. I was expecting that, hoping that, and we're good.
You got it. Foxy's in the house.
I totally agree, Foxy. I had Argentina last night. It was disappointing. They are a lazy team. That is all I saw from them. Just like I saw from the men's team. I know they won the World Cup, but laziness. The men's team had a problem with, offsides. They would walk back to play. And the women didn't have a problem with that in Argentina. It was just more of lack of effort on defense and just a lot of casual play. They would play super casual, and then they would get themselves pressed into a situation where the ball would just get taken from them. So just absolutely, I'm totally with you on that, Foxy. It was such a disappointment to watch. And then they scored the 2 goals in like 5 minutes just to get your hopes up with 10 to go and couldn't cap it off. So very, very disappointing there. I don't have faith in them advancing out of this group after last night.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Tomorrow, we've got some really interesting Women's World Cup, and Sweden, Italy, France, Brazil, and Panama and Jamaica. Those are 3 interesting games. Do you fancy any of them, or what do you hope to see tomorrow?
Yeah, those are definitely all of them. I think are very interesting games because from what we saw against Sweden, now South Africa has shown in 2 games now a lot of fight, but they don't have a good defense. They gave up obviously the 2 goals to Sweden. One came very late in the 90th minute, which is if you're Sweden, you got to be thinking that's the weakest team in the group, and we barely beat them. So definitely not great on their part. This Italy team, I was down on them coming into the tournament. They surprised me a bit when they played Argentina. I thought they were the better team in that one, and it'll be interesting to see how they play tonight. Obviously, those are my Italians, but I have no faith in the men's team. So we'll see how the women's team perform. They have to be better at this point. At least they're in the World Cup. But I definitely think it'll be an interesting match. The under kind of intrigues me here, just because Sweden, they struggled. Yeah, they beat South Africa 2-1 in their first match, but they struggled to score on that bad defense, as we saw last night. Argentina was able to claw back those 2 goals very quickly. It was late in the match, but they seem to have that kind of problem late in the match, South Africa. But yeah, Sweden, they let South Africa take the lead. Their defense wasn't great coming into the tournament. They had their last friendly right before the tournament started was a huge 3-3 match. I know that's kind of like a derby match because it was against Norway, but still to give up 3 goals in that one, they weren't playing great. They've kind of been on the downtrend this year. So definitely it'll be interesting to see what Italy does, because Italy has played very well coming into the tournament. Their defense has been very well. I think they're going to give Sweden a tough time trying to score a goal here. But at the same time, Sweden, if they learn from their mistakes against South Africa, then it's going to be a very tough match for Italy as well. So
Right. So it can go either way in that regard.
oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely going to be an interesting match. Same with the other two really. France and Brazil is a very interesting match because France is obviously a top 5 team in the world, and they were the favorites of this group coming in. But Brazil has been shown absolutely no respect. So I know they're not technically ranked as high as France, but they're still a top 10 team. They're 8th in the world, Brazil, and they're the Copa America champions. And even though they lost the UEFA CONMEBOL Cup of Champions to England just a few months ago, we've already discussed how that was a 1-1 draw, and they lost that one in penalties. So, England is one of the favorites coming into the tournament. They were the second favorite behind the USA, and they haven't impressed at all. They beat Haiti 1-0 in their first match, and then they squeaked by Denmark this morning, scoring in the 5th minute, and then nothing after that. So, to say, I really don't think there's that much of a difference between France and Brazil. So I think the line is definitely appropriate because it kind of reflects that. Both are around plus 170 right now on my sportsbook, but it's going to be very interesting because France and Brazil have both been in great form, and these are both top 10 teams. And it's going to be a very important match, obviously, because France drew 0-0 with Jamaica in their first match. So they're actually down. They only have the 1 point, while Brazil absolutely blew the doors off Panama 4-0. So it's going to be an interesting one, another one.
Yep. And I think that all we really want is entertaining games, right? I mean, it's well, I shouldn't say that, because if you wagered on the game, you definitely do care. But even that, you just want an entertaining game, and you can have an entertaining game and your team can win. So there's
and
that.
Even this Panama Jamaica game, I think, is going to be very interesting because that's two of the more evenly matched up teams compared to each other, and they're in the same group as France and Brazil. So they already know there's two giants, two top 10 teams in your group. They're going to have to leave it all out on the pitch tomorrow morning when they play, because this very well, the 3 points from this match could very well be what puts one of them through versus maybe France, because they already dropped points in their first match, right? So it's going to be a very interesting one for sure. I actually think these are going to be some 3 exciting matches tomorrow morning.
I'm guessing you're not going to be up for the 3:30 one.
No, I probably won't be watching my Italians play, but I'll try to get up for that 6 a.m.
You can record it. I mean, that would be something.
No. I'll wake up, and the first thing I'll do is check the score.
There you go. That's fair enough. And you can have some cappuccino, for breakfast.
Yes, I'm a big iced cappuccino guy.
There you go. You got that going for you. All right. Well, that's that. Now, this is also a big weekend in baseball because we are moving into, and we've already started to begin to see teams. I hope Rye's not on the. It'd be nice if Rye were on with us today, but his Lucas Giolito is gone to the coast, and there's a lot of different players that could get moved this weekend, because Monday is the trade deadline, and normally, you try not to wait to the exact day to get these things done. And here's the weird part, right? All the way up until about 2 years ago, you had to fax in the information. So if the fax machine,
why 2 years ago?
I'm sorry?
Why 2 years ago? We're talking 2021. We were still faxing information in.
That's what I'm saying. They were so you can literally text somebody and say, "I'm trading so and so to so and so," and no, it's got to be faxed to us. And that would hold up. So in other words, you'd be sitting there going, "Okay, well, gosh, if you're a fan of one of the teams, right? You've got whoosh, my guys, they didn't trade anybody," or you're pissed off because what? my guys didn't pick up somebody at the trade deadline. Well, you get an hour later, the transaction would come over, and you're like, wait a minute, it's 5, 6 o'clock. Well, that's because the damn fax machine at Major League Baseball
was so backed up
with trades that it got there when the queue got to them. So like somebody must have bought them a better machine or something. So now you can scan it and send it in an email. Evidently technology has finally made it to Park Avenue.
There has to be a better way than faxing it at this point. Come on,
what are you in the 90s? What the hell's your problem? So we're hoping that if your team is one of those teams who could use a little help, that they get it. I might sneak out this weekend to see Aaron Judge. Aaron is playing as the Yankees face off against the Baltimore Orioles. And,
he's finally coming back.
It's expected he'll be back this weekend. I don't know if he'll play tonight, but he certainly will be. He will definitely be back in the lineup sometime this week. That is, it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting. That's for darn sure. So
yeah, I heard that the Dodgers have engaged in talks with Nolan Arenado now, or with the Cardinals for Nolan Arenado. Right. They're the only team he's willing to waive his trade clause for.
Huh. I don't think he's from there, is he?
No, but I think he just wants to go to a super team, probably.
Well, that's fair enough.
That's probably what it is. It's just the Dodgers, of course, the Dodgers.
Yeah, they're not gonna hurt me. My life as a Dodger.
I think just because the consistency, right? Like we look at the Orioles and the Rangers who are leading their divisions right now, but is it going to be like that next year? Who knows, right? Like look at the Yankees; they were so dominant last year, and now they're at the bottom of the division right now. And next year they could be 100-win team again. So, I guess with that, right? It's with the Dodgers, you're getting 100-win team.
Well, yeah, you got a chance, and that's all you really want. You want a chance.
They're consistently shelling out the cash every year to keep good quality players there and try and win the division. Okay,
well, the New York Post, and there's a lot of things the New York Post gets wrong, but it's not in baseball. They're usually good there. The New York Post is reporting that the New York Mets have engaged in conversations with the Rangers, Astros, Diamondbacks, and others for the potential of trading Max Scherzer, who they just signed.
I was going to say, so the Astros, I find it weird how you say the Astros, because it's you take Verlander and we'll take Scherzer.
Right, yeah. It's we'll take your problem. Yeah, you could take, you could put the Rangers to get Bumgarner, and and the Astros could get Scherzer. Who knows? Verlander. I'm sorry, not Bumgarner. The number 2 person is left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery, who we talked about, who is from the Cardinals. Potential Dodgers, Orioles, Phillies on that one. So left-handed pitching is always enjoyed. Now here's the one you and I talked about the other day, right? The Padres are willing to dangle out there Josh Hader, possibly the preeminent closer in the game, and his suitors are, stop me if you heard this before, the Rangers, the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, and the Dodgers. So for Josh,
it's a common theme there.
Yeah, I think we're going there in this common theme. All right, number 4 on the list is shortstop for the Cardinals, Paul DeJong. Now DeJong is, he's not going to overwhelm you with, stats from standpoint. You took a look at his slash line. It's not all that impressive, but it seems like anytime there's a guy on base, Paul DeJong finds a way to get them in. It's just amazing. Dodgers, Brewers, and Mariners. I'm a little interested in why the Dodgers, who have, a a couple of pretty good shortstops are interested, but okay. The Brewers and Rares I can get. Okay, Jamer Cardero. Now, he's the third baseman for the New York National, the Washington National, the people right outside my window and down the street. Candelario was a $5 million 1 year guy, and he's played, off the chart. As a defensive player, he's got some good hits. He's got, high end speed, and this is a 1 year contract. So potentially the Phillies, who seem to be in on every trade, the Brewers, stop me, you've heard that before, and the Twinkies are in on that deal. Paul Blackburn, who's a right-hand pitcher of the Athletics. I'm surprised they actually have one left. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and Orioles on him. Looks like if the Orioles and Dodgers are looking for starting pitching for sure. James Paxton.
Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and the Diamondbacks too, who are in on this one. James Paxton, left-hand pitcher, of course, from the Red Sox. He had a good season between the COVID years between 20 and 22. Not so much as this year, but it's not that. Look, it's quite possible. A change of scenery would do him doing well. The Reds, Diamondbacks, and Orioles are in on him. Scott Barlow, who's a right-handed pitcher for the Royals. Diamondbacks, Rangers, Phillies. I think we see a very interesting, scenario here where everybody seems to get.
I think if the Rangers were able to get Josh Hader,
yeah,
I think that would win them a lot more games late.
You think? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they have been winning. That would be a huge boost for them.
Now, here's a guy I'm going to tell you in a second who I've seen many times being from the Washington Nationals. He's one of those guys who's got plus fastball. I mean, we're talking he can touch 100 often. And he's somebody who is like your poor man's Josh Hader, and now be Kyle Finnegan. He's a closer, and it would be, I would think, and he was signed. He was signed by the Nationals as a minor league free agent, and he's been nails for a number of years. He's only 32, and he would be a good fit. Now the Dodgers, Rays, and Phillies are in on him, and this one is amazing to me. The next one. He's a catcher of the White Sox. He's Yasmani Grandal. Now, Yasmani Grandal is good. He's 34 years old. He's been, for 10 years, he's been, very aggressive. He said defensive metrics are solid. I guess they're willing to part with him. As I guess if you're the White Sox, you're willing to part with anybody. The teams in on him, this is an odd mix. The Marlins, Astros, and Guardians. Now, let me just preface what I'm saying here. The teams I'm telling you are potential suitors are not necessarily where this person ends up, even if they get traded at all. So these are right now the best possible matches at this point. Yan Gomes, another catcher, who has a club option of $6 million. Now he's not been someone who has had a good season this year, but Yasmani Grandal still is a very Yan Gomes is still a very quality catcher. Astros, Marty and Garlands, Astros, Guardians, and Marlins are in on him. Tim Anderson on shortstop or White Sox. Yeah, sounds good. The Dodgers must be looking for a shortstop because every time you see a shortstop or an infielder, the Dodgers are in on. So it's the Mariners, Brewers, and Dodgers on that one. And Lane Thompson. Now, Lane Thomas is an outfielder with the Nationals. And he's got plus arm. He's a decent hitter. He's not a great hitter. He's a left-handed bat. They see the Brewers, Guardians, and Yankees are on him. I would throw the Rays on this one, too, because he's going to be a low it's not going to take a lot to pry him out. of there. He's still in his 20s. He has team control, which is something the Rays like. So he's not going to cost them a lot of money. And so I would think that would be very attractive. He's a good bat. He's a phenomenal glove. So I would think that's kind of the Rays stock and trade. I don't understand the Yankees being in this, but
well, he's pretty much been the Nationals' offense all year. Like
yep.
he is the Nationals' offense. It's a one-man show, and he's running it.
And he's running it. And the rest of the world, everybody else is paying rent. Jordan Hicks, right-hand pitcher, Cardinals. I think I think at this point the only thing not on the docket for the Cardinals is the stadium. I think everything else is up for grabs. Dodgers, Blue Jays, Rangers on him. Cody Bellinger, speaking of the Dodgers, now of the Chicago Cubs. He's your Swiss Army knife. He can play center field, first base, pretty much anything. Phillies, Guardians, and Rays on him. Makes sense.
Didn't you mention the Rangers were taking a look at him too? A few weeks ago, I remember you saying something
right.
like that.
Yeah, they're again. I'm giving you these potential suitors. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going anywhere. So
that would make sense to me, just because him and Corey Seager have them reunite over in Texas. So that would make a lot of sense. But
that would make a lot of sense, and it would also solve a problem they have. Randall Gurick of he's now with the Rockies. Not an overwhelming, player, but he's under. Basically he is under the control of the team for quite a while. So again, like Lane Thomas, you're getting somebody that you're going to get, have control of for a year, for years to come. So that's not a bad one. Adam Duvall, outfielder, Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox have an outfield glut, and so I guess they can afford to get rid of them. So Twins, Marlins, Phillies on that one. Justin Lawrence of the Rockies is a pitcher, right-hander. Rays, Rangers, Blue Jays on him. Brent Booker, first baseman, outfielder, Athletics. Potential is the Brewers, the Guardians, and the G-Men, the Giants. So those are some of the names that are being floated around out in the ether at the moment to go on or before trade deadline day. So keep an eye on those folks. And Amadeus, you said yesterday, you do pay a great deal of attention, coming up with what's going on, and let's see how it plays out. But it's so important, and you can tell us again the importance of making sure that you pay attention to what's going on, because you don't want to miss an opportunity to find out that the guy your team, you're betting on that team, and you look for the starting lineup, and you can't figure out where the guy is. Well, he may very well be on his way to another team.
Yeah, definitely. And one guy actually we haven't talked about. So we've mentioned how Giolito is going to be making his first start for the Angels tonight, but also Yonny Chirinos is making his first start for the Braves tonight. And I'll tell you one thing: if I know giving Chirinos to the Braves doesn't really affect them, because AL, NL completely, and unless they meet up in the World Series. But if the Rays are getting rid of Chirinos, tells me something's wrong with them.
Yeah. I mean, that you're 100%. I think that, the more that you look at it, the more you see that making the trade before you need to is probably better than making it after. And so we'll see. We'll 100% see. But, man, it's going to be a crazy weekend. And, you always watch – one of the great things about it is they're showing the dugout, and you're seeing guys. I've seen guys. They got pulled from the game, and they're on the bench, and they're shaking hands with everybody on the bench. And then you got the announcers going, "Well, I wonder what is going on with him." Well, you think he's going to get traded? I mean, or no? They just pulled him out of the game, and he decided to shake hands with everybody in the dugout, and go down the tunnel because he's going to get an early shower. It's just weird from that standpoint. If you see your favorite guy in the dugout, shaking hands with people, there's a pretty good chance he's gone somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You know,
Definitely be on the lookout for that this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's go round the major leagues today. Starting first pitch at 6:40. That's our early game today. That's going to be the Tigers and the Marlins. The Phillies and the Buccos. There's an old school situation. You've got Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. You've got Keller pitching for the Bucks. Orioles Yankees was the aforementioned game, which I had talked about earlier. Garrett Cole on the hill. So Yankees taking this series seriously. Garrett Cole on the hill. Rodriguez on the hill for, of course, your Baltimore Orioles. Angels is the Angels and the Blue Jays. That's the Apple TV game tonight, 7:07. I don't know, it'll be a good series, actually. Guess who's pitching for Los Angeles? That'd be right if you say Lucas Giolito. Kevin Gausman, your boy Kevin, is on the hill for the Blue Jays. Nationals and Mets get together over on at Citi Field. That's Gore against Scherzer. Maybe Max is doing a little. Auditioning tonight. Guardians White Sox. I don't have a pitcher for Cleveland, but Toussaint is pitching for Chicago.
For Cleveland, I got Xavier Curry.
Do you have pitchers for the Detroit Marlin game?
Yeah, we got Olsen and Braxton Garrett.
Okay. I didn't. That was what I didn't have. Brewers and Braves. It's Hauser for the Brewers. It's Chinos for the Braves. McClanahan and Javier pitching tonight. Tampa Bay with McClanahan, Javier Houston with Javier on the hill. Astros. That game's an 8-10 first pitch. Another 8-10 first pitch is the Twins and the Royals. Sonny Gray for the Twins. Kansas City's got Singer. Cubs Cardinals to be determined. I don't have a Cubs pitcher. Montgomery for the Cardinals is what I got. Athletics Rockies don't have a pitcher for Oakland. Colorado's going with Freeland. Mariners Diamondbacks. That's a big series for both those teams. Gilbert on the hill for Seattle. On the hill for Arizona is Henry. Texas is at San Diego. That's a big one. Joel Musgrove. We talked about him as possibly being pried away, and Blake Snell possibly getting pried away from the Padres if things don't go well for them. Dunning's on the hill for Texas. As I said, Musgrove on the hill for Seattle. I'm sorry, San Diego. The 10-10 games, two 10-10 games. Cincinnati is at Chavez Ravine to play the Dodgers. Williamson on the hill for Cincinnati. The Dodgers go with Miller. Red Sox, they're in San Francisco to play the Giants. And Crawford gets the ball for Boston. Meanwhile, Webb gets the call for the San Francisco Giants. So that's your baseball for tonight. Those teams obviously are all going to be playing over the weekend. So those series, you've got some rivalry series with the Cubs and Cardinals. You've got some important series with the Orioles and the Yankees and the Astros and the Rays. Those should be good series. And frankly, the Cincinnati Reds, who played pretty decent ball, go to Los Angeles, and I think that has the potential of being a very interesting and fun series to watch as well. And of course, I think we mentioned it earlier that the Angels Blue Jays, that's going to be fun too. So there you go. And Lucas Giolito gets to pitch for his new team. So be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it should be a high scoring weekend probably.
It's got the potential, that's for sure. So all right, bud. Let's see what we got here. We got Joe. Hey, Joe. Tuning in from Antarctica. Okay. Well, I hope you're warm, Joe. It's global warming is good, but I'm not sure you got to Antarctica. So good to hear from anybody from Antarctica. Any questions, Joe Mama? Which is a very clever name, by the way. And Foxy's got let me down later, both at home. Final two games of his 7 parlay.
Betting on some Brazil Serie B there.
It's a lot of games, Foxy. I guess if you know what you're doing, you can do that. But man, that is a lot of games. 7-game parlay.
Yeah, it's probably something you just put like $20 on or something.
Oh, okay.
It pays out a couple hundred, right?
Right. Okay. Cool. Well, gentlemen, let's start with Amadeus. What can we look forward to you for tonight and then over the weekend?
Yeah, so you can get my premium plays at bigal.com and pickadvisor.com. The link is down in the description below. And for tonight, I got 2 MLB up and got actually some afternoon soccer that's about to start. So yeah, other than that, and then I have some plays up for the Women's World Cup early Saturday morning, coming off a 3-0 morning this morning. I had China money line, the England Denmark under, and England to keep a clean sheet. That was the prop play. So
not bad at all. And I'm sure if you go there over the weekend, there'll be a number of things that Amadeus will have for you on Sunday as he gets ready for those games too. So by all means, check it all out. We've got all kinds of fun stuff in the show box below, and be sure to visit because we like to have you guys here. Thanks to those of you who came over today on a Friday afternoon. For Amadeus, I'm Jim. We're saying so long, and we're saying we hope in the not too distant future that we see you back here on Monday. Okay. Everybody have a safe and a happy weekend.